Well, hello everyone. Now, this week I had hoped to do another video about this little guy, the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema camera, which I did take apart and clean in the last day or so. However, the IR cut filter, despite me cleaning it, is still extremely dirty, as you can see. But worse still, the real fatal blow to that was, and I didn't even fully clean the actual piece of glass in the end, was that you could see after cleaning some more of it away that the actual glass itself is stained, which or discolored, so you can't really clean that off. So I decided just to get like a replacement IR cut filter, which I hope will arrive next couple of weeks, and then I can replace it. But I thought I'd do a video about another bargain that I got, and this is, I know I call that camera a bargain of the century, but this is arguably a bigger bargain because I got this for €0, which is also €0 and $0. It's the easiest of currency conversions to do. It's the Pentax Star Ist DS, which is about 19 years old. At the time of making this video, it was released in 2004. I got it for free from a local online seller who I had bought a Pentax 43mm FA limited lens from, and he literally just threw this camera in with the package and said, "Here you go, enjoy," which is really nice of him. And yeah, it's a lovely looking camera. First off, despite its age, it's not been too banged up, and I think actually quite a nicely designed camera. I even though this is plastic, I do like the look of this silver finish. It has a real pop to it. And even though it was a beginner camera in its day, which is given away by this mode dial that has all the quirky little guides like portraits and landscapes and macro with a little flower denoted, it does actually have some nice features that are kind of considered pro or intermediate camera level features in more modern cameras, particularly mirrorless cameras. So for example, you've got a top display here. On there that will show your shutter speed, aperture, number of shots left, which was handy for me today because I was running low. It's also got a separate SD card slot on the side here. Obviously a lot of the more entry level cameras nowadays have the actual SD card in with the battery, but not on this one. And actually got that nice kind of flip up button as well to open it, so very nice. And it does have the separate battery compartment just down there as well. So yeah, like a nice camera. Now the most awkward thing about this was this camera only works with 2GB SD cards. So it was actually quite difficult to get a 2GB SD card. It's not something I had lying around. I think the smallest card I had was like 8GB. But yeah, I eventually got one for quite cheap, and it was from Transcend, and it's worked well ever since I got it. So that was good also. And yeah, an enjoyable camera to use and a nice grip, which is, I think Pentax have always had nice grips, although that's maybe subjective, but a nice grip. No shake reduction IBIS, no weather sealing on this guy. That was to come much later for Pentax. But yeah, like I said, a nice camera to use, and like a lot of people turn their nose up at lower megapixel cameras, and even things like 16 megapixels and 20 megapixels are often referred to as being too low or lacking in resolution. But really, you can print quite large with that resolution, and I don't know many people who have houses big enough to have multiple pictures of more than 30 or 40 inches, or 30 by 40 inches, or 30 by 20 inches. There's not many houses that can have multiple pictures like that. So the amount of pictures you'll be printing of that resolution are going to be really low. For things, if you're sharing on social media, even 6 megapixels like this is going to be more than enough, and actually could look nicer because this camera has a CCD sensor, which kind of has that very kind of vibrant colors in it. And I'll show a quick picture here of what I mean. I took a picture of some screws outside my house earlier today, and I really noticed that the colors popped off that. But yeah, and the other thing is as well, as an exercise even for experienced guys or experienced intermediate hobbyists or professional photographers, you know, having an older camera like this with a low megapixel count, like 6 megapixels, you know, you really can't crop too much. You really have to get your composition bang on. and there's like very little margin for error. I think that's a very useful tool to have. And if you're a beginner photographer, well, first of all, you can get a camera like this very cheap. I've seen these particular ones going for around 1,500 to 2,000 peso locally, so that's around, you know, late 20s, early 30s euros, something similar in dollars. So a very cheap body to buy if you just wanted to try out photography. It's good enough to share on social media, and it's good enough to learn on. You've got all the buttons and dials you'll need here to learn photography on. And yeah, it's I would recommend it to someone who is learning photography instead of spending a lot on other cameras. But yep, that's it for today. Just a quick video of this camera. That's the Pentax Starlist DS camera. And I'll share some pictures I've taken recently of this camera at the end here to show, hopefully, that you can get good looking pictures even out of an old camera like this. Thanks everyone. Bye now.